Today on DOOP by the River, we are going to talk about that Nashville match. What in the heck happened down in Music City? We're also going to be previewing the Red Bull match. We will have the EPL boys themselves here to preview that match this upcoming Thursday. And ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of DOOP by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Done it! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to DOOP by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. What is going on YouTube? What is going on Twitter? And what is going on Twitch? Welcome on into another episode of DOOP by the River. And, of course, let me introduce to you guys my fellow experts in Doopin'. First off, let's start off with my man, Mr. Justin Notorious BALD in the building, Freiburg. What's going on, Justin? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, it's coming off a holiday weekend. I'm preparing to go down on another trip myself. But hey, I always have time to talk about our boys in blue. So let's get at it.
So if you guys did not know, Justin is actually taking his boys Jack Ellie and Ray Gaddis for a little weekend boys trip, a little weekend boys bachelor party. I'm just kidding. That would be some funny stuff. I would pay to watch that.
Now that would be
you three just tearing up West Virginia.
Jack would drink me under the table. Let's be honest.
Ray would just monitor everything. You know, Ray is our child of God, as Adam Booth would say, of course. And of course, let me introduce to you guys our other expert in Doopin', my man, Mr. Zach Lobasso, who is he's partying hard after Italy won. Zach, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Had a pretty long day of coaching, but you know, you gotta be able to talk Union at the end of the day. So absolutely, that's what I'm here to do.
Zach, I mean, not only the Union are teaching our youth, Zach as well is teaching our youth as well. He's doing his part for sure. Thank you so much for that. All right, well, boys, believe it or not, this is going to be the very first episode of DOOP by the River where it is sponsored. Yes, I said that. We are actually sponsored today. So let me introduce to you guys today our first ever sponsor. Today's episode is sponsored by Roxborough United SC. If you guys do not know, this is a great organization helping kids around the Roxborough area fall in love with the game of soccer, fall in love with themselves, honestly. A lot of special things. So our buddy Jeff Mitchell, who's a big part of Roxborough United, he's doing a little bit of a birthday charity event that he's doing. So for his birthday, he's running a little fundraiser for Roxborough, just getting some donations to kind of help people, help this team out. Obviously, they're a nonprofit, so you know they do need money for equipment, you know, coaching, and all the things you would think a soccer club does need. So what they are doing currently, I will actually put it in the comments. There is a Facebook donation group where you can actually donate there. Anything helps, from $1 to $10. Anything really helps, and this goes a long way. It goes to help these kids to get the proper tutelage and the equipment that they need to play this beautiful game. If you guys are on the apps, you can also donate as well to PayPal and to Venmo. They are on the screen right now. If you are listening to this on some of our streaming sites, of course, I will put this in the description so you guys can go check that out. But we really, from Justin, Zach, and of course, Tim is not here today, myself, we would like to thank Roxborough United for sponsoring this episode and for being who they are. This is definitely a great cause. So, guys, definitely, it would mean the world to us to donate anything you can to Roxborough United. Guys, we got a first sponsor. I'm feeling good about that.
And a very good one, Jeff. If anyone knows Jeff Mitchell,
beautiful human being.
He is Mr. Posidelphia himself.
Yes, I can't take that. It's
an all out great guy. So please do support a organization that is near and dear to Jeff's heart. He puts a lot of time and effort.
Our hearts as well, Justin.
And he's just a great guy. So whatever you can, even if it's a few dollars here or there, whatever you can, or whatever it is, just much appreciated.
Of course, absolutely. So we'll put that up there, and again, we'll put them in the description so you guys can of course find that. But seriously, shouts to Roxborough United. Let's go Roxborough United. I need to learn those chants now, guys. I need to definitely learn those chants. Well, I'm in a better mood today. Obviously, last night, my Colombia got bounced from the tournament in a heartbreaking fashion. I will say, guys, I'm proud of them. I will start with that. I'm super proud of Colombia. I didn't expect us to even be in the semifinals, to take Argentina to 90 minutes, come back, right? You had a little comeback in there, and you know what? Penalty kicks, anything can happen. If we learn anything about this beautiful game, anything can happen in that aspect. But yeah, man,
especially anything in the Copa America PKs, because there have been some wild PKs, man. Just people missing left and right, goalies making great saves.
Oh my god!
It's not been a tournaments for taking penalties. I'll say that much.
What was Ronaldo Reda's player selection though? Look, I get it. That selection worked against Uruguay. You got to change it up. And Luis Diaz was the best player on the pitch for 90 minutes. And he didn't even get an opportunity. That hurts, man. That definitely hurts. And it is what it is. Again, I'm proud. I mentioned this on TikTok, and I don't want to talk about this for too long, but two things that I learned from that game. We need to find that next generation. We need to find those next attackers. There were times in that match where Colombia had a tough time of linking the play to the forwards, being clinical in that final third. But I will say the positive, I believe this team will make the World Cup. I believe that they can do it. If you've seen them play under Reda, they look more inspired. They look more stronger, and I feel confident that they will make the World Cup. So enough with that Colombian talk. Guys, I want to say congratulations to number one, boss man, Liam Jenkins. I'm sure he is drunk somewhere with a pint of beer in some pub in England, as his English team is now in the finals against Zach's of Azzurri. The Azzurri got the job done, and they're in their finals. This is going to be a very interesting finals.
Absolutely.
You ready, Zach?
I mean, as long as it isn't like, if Italy doesn't put me through emotional distress like they did against Spain, I'm excited for it. But that game,
Zach, do you know how sports work? That's not how it works.
Listen. I think Spain was a very tough matchup for Italy because they like to high press. They have a ton of pace all over the field, whereas England don't really have as much pace. Like, you have Sterling, you have Saka, then you have Walker, and you have Shaw. But other than that, like, they're not going to be able to press like Spain did. And I think if they do press like Spain did, because of the pace or the lack of pace in Harry Maguire and John Stones also not being the fastest, Italy's going to definitely be able to break open that back line. Unlike Spain, where you have, Jordi Alba, and then you also have center backs who have more pace like Garcia. And even though Laporte's not super fast, he is a top center back where he can cover for that, and also has Garcia covering for him in that game. But it's going to be, England's very stout defensively. So if Italy can't get in behind, I don't know if they're going to be able to score many goals. I think they're going to go out with the same lineup, although I would like to see someone else at left back besides Emerson, if there even is an option there, because Emerson was not doing, you need someone to be willing to do the job that Spinazzola did before he went out, because that really makes this Italy team tick. That left back getting forward allows Insigne to come more centrally, which really causes issues for that defensive midfielder and the two center backs, because no one wants to deal with a guy that pacey and that crafty on the ball in the middle of the field with someone else bombing to the left, willing to cross the ball into the likes of Chiesa and Immobile.
It should definitely be a fun one. I honestly don't know who I'm going to be rooting for. I do want to say before we move on to that, because obviously I go on Twitter and that's all I'm seeing. I'm more worried about the Nashville's Ake signing. Everyone's like, "Oh, Euro semifinal up," which I get it. But I really just want to say, seriously, congrats to Denmark.
Dude, for real.
Anyone predict them to be in the Final Four? And you guys,
remotely.
yeah, you guys know me as well. I love a good Cinderella story, and just their story of what went down with Eriksson, and to play motivated the way they did, and to get to this spot. Seriously, my hat's off in Denmark, and that really is the story of this Final Four. Even if they didn't make it, that was definitely special there.
Yeah.
But yes, guys, before we move forward, guys, please do not forget to subscribe to El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel and like this live. This is where we put all of the video portions of DOOP by the River. And of course, make sure to just subscribe to DOOP by the River wherever you stream podcasts. We are on Apple, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, and we're also on PSN Radio. You can find all of your favorite Philly Sports Network podcasts on there as well. Before we get into the Nashville review, guys, I want to just real quick, from all of us here at DOOP by the River, Philly Sports Network, we want to send our condolences to Matt Freese and the Freese family. If you guys did not hear, Freese's father unfortunately passed away late last night. Not too many details, but of course, I mean, listen, right now, our main concern should be Matt Freese and his family are okay. Losing your father, especially at Matt Freese's young age, that is definitely hard. And I couldn't even imagine what he's going through. But seriously, we just wanted to say we want to send our condolences out to the Freese family there. All right, guys. Let's move to this Nashville review. First off, before we get into it, what happened? What the heck happened in Music City? This is not how it was supposed to go.
I can start by saying I really should use my powers of predestination wisely, because we did talk about it. I did say that wouldn't it be Union if CJ scored? And what did he do in the first 3 minutes?
Yeah.
He scored, and I looked at it and went, oh no, I was right. God damn it.
It had to be CJ.
I'm like, it had to be CJ. It had to. No other player. And I was like, and because that was the only goal. And I'm like, yeah. That's all I can say. I was like, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be and I was like, yeah, that's gonna be the game winner. And that happened. I'm like,
because you really thought that was gonna be it? You thought there was gonna be no more goals after that?
The way that game was going,
I mean, yeah,
it was not very pretty on either side. Like, Nashville had more possession, but outside of that chance, because that chance was purely on the counter.
Right. Yeah.
Once that happened, that game slowed. They slowed it down. They're a defensive team. I said it would not be a very high scoring game. I said 3-2. I'm like, come again? Like, that does not sound like this game. And I was concerned that, and that's kind of why, I don't know if I said 2-1 or 1-0, but I was like, it's going to be a very, very tight game. I wasn't wrong. Like, that game was suffocating defense and just ugly soccer. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty. I said it on the pod. It was not going to be pretty. And all my worst fears about that game came true.
When I even look at that first goal, obviously I noticed that the turnover by Leon and the counterattack by Nashville, but even Jakob and Olivier just kind of, it looks like their feet were in quicksand, and CJ just took advantage of some open space, and that was a low shot. I mean, I can't really fault Andre. Andre didn't have the strongest of games either. He made some big saves later on that kind of kept the scoreline what it was, but it just felt weird. Like, it didn't feel like the Union were out there. Like, we've been accustomed to this suffocating style of soccer, and they've been pretty dominant for the most part over the past couple seasons, man. But it just felt weird. It really did. I will say the back line was surprising. I just mentioned Glasnes and I mentioned Mbaizo. But I'll throw this one to Zach, man. What happened to the back line on Saturday night? That really was the one thing that caught my eye the most, more than anything on the pitch.
I I think it was just one of those games where no one was really on, and it happens sometimes, unfortunately. And I think these teams, like we talked about in the beginning or in the preview, like neither of them really want the ball. They're better when they get the ball and counter. And I just think that like that, yeah, you're going to have games where sometimes you're not on. But especially when you play like that, you sometimes get lulled into situations where like the other team has the ball for a long time, and then you kind of switch off in moments. And I think this was one of those games where they just switched off a couple times too many, and it obviously cost them. But I don't foresee it being an issue going forward. But like, I mean, we talked about before the show started, like teams are figuring out the diamond, so it might be time to switch things up. Maybe not super drastically, but Jim's got to be able to tweak those tactics somewhat, because that's what good managers do. They work around teams that figure them out. So we'll see what happens in the next coming games. But yeah, I think you kind of throw this game out, kind of like the Chicago game. 2 games back to back though, which is kind of not what you want to see. 2 poor performances in a row, but I mean, it's the beginning, middle of the season, so there's time to improve. There's time to fix these mistakes and get back to where they need to be.
I agree with you, and unfortunately, with the performance and the loss, it kind of snapped an 8-game unbeaten streak for the Union. Obviously, we know how this team started at the beginning of the season. They went on a little of a run, and then you had a blunder down in Nashville on Saturday night. I think that, listen, this team is okay. It's still pretty early. And like we talked about before, once you are a big dog, and I know the Union didn't win the MLS Cup, but you still won Supporter Shield, and that grants some sort of respect as a team when you're showing up to these different MLS stadiums or NFL stadiums, I guess in this case. But yeah, Nashville came to play, and I feel like Nashville, they took this game and they're like, okay, we know we're still a new team. We have yet to play Philadelphia, but we know Philadelphia is a well-respected club in the MLS. And they showed up. And CJ Sapong, you know he was motivated to play us. You know he did not want to leave Philadelphia. He wanted to stay here. And, I mean, the man is the second leading goal scorer in Union history, may we remind you. And it was honestly an inspired performance by CJ. And it wasn't even just that goal. Like, just the runs he made. He's such a smart player. Such an intelligent player, man.
Absolutely.
The thing is, you remember why, and CJ, I loved CJ when he was here. And the one thing that he never got credit for, and it was something that's never on the stats, he took the ugly fouls. He took the fouls. He took the physical play. So he didn't get like half the calls. I mean, those kind of strikers, when you play that way, the refs are usually about half the time willing to give you those calls. And CJ took a lot of abuse. And yeah, okay, he had the one season where he had he had 16 goals, and he was firing, and he was but then like there's times where, listen, he just did not have the stats. And listen, yeah, being a striker generally, people are going to have to focus on your goals, but it's just interesting that, like, and of course it was CJ, but like he doesn't get as much respect around the league, I think, as he should. I mean, he's been a bit of a journeyman, obviously, in the last few years, but he still puts up the goal. He still puts up goals. Like, he still puts in the work. That his effort's never been in question.
Yeah, I agree with you. One other point I wanted to bring up with this match. So we talked about it in the preview because Jim was obviously the question was brought up to him in the last press conference. Teams trying to figure out this diamond, and these teams are slowly trying to figure out this diamond. Now, Nashville did not. They had a 3-back set, and a lot of teams have been throwing 3 to 5 back sets. They played with 2 like natural wingers out there, so they line up in a 3-5. 1-1, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. But Lovitz and Johnston were out wide. Now, the neutralization of the midfield has something we've been noticing over the past now 2-3 matches there. I'll throw this one to Zach, man. What are you seeing out there? Like, what is it that has been kind of stalling this midfield a little bit?
So I think that they really live and die by how well Jamiro plays on any given night. And when he doesn't show up to as well as he can, they really struggle. But when he's on it and he's getting the ball and he's distributing and he's going at guys, he's playing that splitting ball through to Casper, Sergio, or whoever's up front, they're really dangerous and they can be one of the best teams in the league. They can compete for a championship. But when he's not on, they really struggle to like pull the strings in that midfield because he's really that creative guy that they look for to kind of pull them out of these lulls that they find themselves getting into. Now, hopefully, Gazdag, like first game, like I would have loved to see him have like a great first game where he just balled. But he's been in the country for like what, 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah, he was for like a week, and then he's been for like a couple weeks. So not really.
So he probably does. His English may not be great. I'm not 100% sure on that, but like coming from Hungary, like he might not speak great English. And even if he does, like learning Jim's system, it's a weird system that most teams do not run. So he's got to figure that out, and it's going to take time. So people just need to be patient with him. But I also think, yes, and as Heather says, he was played out of position. He's a 10 or a false 9. And he was played at an 8, which I found very odd because I think
Jamiro, what was the thinking behind that?
I had no idea.
I guess and that's why, and I agree with Heather. I agree with Mike. Like Miro is not really a 10. Like he's an 8, 10 high, but he's not a true 10. And I think Gazdag, you brought him in to be that attacking mid / false 9 if you need him. I think in tomorrow, I feel like you should throw Miro on the left, put Gazdag up top, have either Ali or Leon and El Brujo, or like I said, kind of rotate that. But Gazdag has to be at the top of that diamond. I'm sorry, I love Miro, but Zach is right. This is the exact problem that the team has. If Miro is off and he's playing as the 10, this offense is just not firing. And he's so hot and cold. That's my concern. And obviously, we've only had Gazdag in 2 substitute appearances and now start. I want to give him more time at the 10. So I think Jim, I hope in the next few games, Jim looks at this and with some of the guys going, through Gold Cup with Andre and with Corey going and go, maybe I can start doing some rotation here and start to mix up that midfield because Miro being too hot and cold. Like I said, it's only been a couple games. I'm not really worried, but it's still that whole thing of. That's why you brought in Gazdag, because you really didn't have a true 10. And Miro is an 8 / a shuttler. He can play as a 10. That's just not his position. And I think he has the abilities, but sometimes he doesn't see the right pass. He takes it on and does a horrible shot. There's stuff that
or he does too much.
Well, the thing, as a 10, where you go a 10 should be able to know when to distribute, when to take the shot. Like, that's the thing is I don't think Miro has the thoughts that really goes into a 10. He's a creative player, but I think there's a slight difference in a player that is a true number 10.
Yeah, and I also think it kind of goes also with like the whole for the U.S. men's national team, is Pulisic better in the middle or out wide? And I think out wide, same with Jamiro. Like when he plays that 8, he definitely drifts more wide. And I think that helps. His role is just very clear cut when he's wide. He doesn't have to worry about like finding that splitting ball or doing too much because he's going at outside backs, or he's combining with the 10 or with the strikers and getting down the byline and crossing balls in. or playing wide with the outside back. Whereas when you play as the 10, you have so many decisions to make at one time when you're on the ball. Like, do I dribble? Do I pass? Do I shoot? Do I go back? Do I reset the play? All this stuff. But when you are in that little pocket out wide now, because he obviously doesn't go super wide because of the diamond, but he has far fewer options. Like, I take on the outside back, I play into the attacking mid, I play out wide, or I play backwards. Like, there's really no, like, oh, I'm dribbling through 3 people, Sergio's going to make this cutting run, I'm chipping him through. Like, it's not really like that when you play out wide as the 8. And I think that freedom that he gets out there, where he kind of floats, is much better suited for how he plays than as a 10.
My last question before we move on to the preview. Now, this crept up in my mind. Could it be possible that these two can play together?
I think they can.
Okay.
So when I was in Chicago, when Gazdag came on the field, when it was when Jim was trying to really chase the game, and it looked like he was trying to really actually go for a win, there were moments I saw some nice link up between Gazdag and Miro. There was one particular sequence that Miro ran up. He saw Gazdag coming behind him. Gazdag kind of literally just flicks it on. Miro gets it back, and it's a quick 1-2. They get it. He passes it back to Gazdag. Gazdag looks, sees the I believe it was Bizo streaking down the wing and plays it through. But like, it was that quick little interchange. I went, okay, they're not really in each other's space. They're able to play together. I just think they need to determine, okay, who's the 10, who's the 8. And I think when it comes to Gazdag, I hope that Jim, like, the reason you brought him in, he's supposed to be your 10. And again, I love having Miro on the field, but Zach's right. That's exactly what I was saying is, with Miro on the wing, on the side of that diamond, he really doesn't have to do as much. So he has that freedom to occasionally, if he wants to play a through pass to Sergio, he can. He doesn't have to. But he also has that ability. Okay, is Kai coming in on my side? I can play him a great through ball. Is my attacking mid in a great position? I'm going to do a quick little pass, or do I pass it back to Brujo? Like, there are fewer options, but they're usually more succinct, more easier options that you're not have to worry about. Like, okay, do I have to really control the game? No, I just have to do little things and just kind of keep the defensive shape.
Okay. Hey, man. Well, with this, a lot of these talented players that we have in this midfield now, I think Jim is just going to keep putting out different things, and we actually have a good problem. I mean, we have depth, like, especially in this midfield that's been pretty daunted, and I feel like they're going to get back to their ways. And gentlemen, Nashville was Nashville. It was a blunder. We were first time in Music City. It was 4th of July weekend. Maybe the boys were just partying up a little bit for USA. But what better way to get back to it than tomorrow night up in North Jersey at Red Bull Arena against the New York Red Bull, our biggest rival.
Wait, no.
Are they?
They don't have to be rival.
Are we sure about that?
Are we really sure about that?
We could debate this in a podcast during the off season, but guys, I am so thrilled and I'm so happy to have a guest on for this podcast. So we took a little different spin on today's episode for the preview of the Red Bull. So we went to some old friends and we found the EPL boys. So, ladies and gentlemen, to preview this Red Bull Union match, the Red Bull side of the EPL boys, Mattia, and
he came back,
and the Union side of the EPL boys, JD Peters. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Very good. Thank you for having us again, or having me again, at least.
I was just here with Matt.
Well, first, I just wanted to say, Matt, we have known each other on social media for over a year now. Dude, I admire the ever-living hell out of you, my man. You keep grinding. You still find a way in this American soccer game. And honestly, I'm honored to have you on this podcast here today and to finally talk to you, man.
Hey, man, and that's that's the most beautiful thing about social media is that I feel like it's always I found JD through social media. Funny enough,
crazy?
like I'm on a podcast.
He begged to get on my podcast. He texted me. He said, "Hey, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but could you have you ever thought about using a third person?" And we're like, "Well, no, I haven't thought about this, but yeah, you seem like you know what you're talking about."
And now I can't get away, unfortunately. Now they have me shackled by the ankle. But yeah, no, it's a beautiful thing. Social media is that like it brings all these different worlds together, and yeah. You know what?
That's how I met Justin and Zach as well.
That's it, man. It's a beautiful thing. And honestly, we're all here talking. We're all pumping up MLS. And I think that's the end goal at the end of the day is to eliminate 1 Euro snob at a time. So
yes,
it's not a retirement league.
My man.
I mean, listen, Serie A is definitely more of a retirement league than MLS these days.
Hey, I mean, Zlatan did play here and then went to Italy. So,
listen, he couldn't win anything here. So he's like, oh, fair, I just go to Italy, right? Drink some wine, just kind of lay around, have some pizza, and just chill. Just ease into retirement.
I don't know. Something about retiring in Italy sounds more intriguing than retiring in the United States. I don't know. That's just me.
Sounds more relaxing over there. It seems nicer, you know.
The wine's
a little bit.
Yeah,
well, I don't want to be rude here. I wanted to also introduce JD as well. JD, what's going on, my man? It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, you too. It's going well. You know, Matt was just kind enough to let me know this was happening, so figured I'd help represent EPL boys and also the union. You know. Unlike the fucking Red Bulls.
Yeah, you know when Matt texted me and went, "Yeah, one of my co-hosts from the podcast is coming out. He's a Union fan," and I'm like, one, I'm surprised he wanted to come back. you I'm like, okay, yeah, like it's gonna be a bit more of a dump on here, but hey, Matt was such a good sport the last time. Listen, I guess he's. Are you a glutton for punishment? Is that?
You know what? Hey.
Yes, he is.
I bring it back to a quote that Tyler Adams did. Like I think back in 2017.
The great Tyler Adams.
Oh my god.
The great Tyler Adams. Like the holy prodigy of Tyler Adams.
He doesn't even remember New York.
Yo, shut up.
North Jersey, JD.
Yes. Excuse me.
He remembers. Leave me alone. No, he flat out said he's like, because we're Red Bull, everyone hates us. So for me, it's like, I don't care where I go. If I wear a Red Bull jersey in public, even in New Jersey, people look at me and they like, oh, why are you wearing that? It's like, because I'm proud. I'm proud of this energy drink company that I represent and walk around.
Matt, can I ask you, how bad do you want the Metro Stars back though?
Oh, you mean the Metro Stars? The Metros? Yeah, no, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of our chants are still like Metro chants, funny enough. They're still ones that were started back with the club about, 20, 25 years ago with the Empire Supporters Group. Those chants have really carried. Most of those chants have not changed. Yes, of course, we've added new ones, like off of coaches and players and stuff like that. But the majority of our structure, at least on our chants, you'll actually hear, if you hear closely, it's actually not Red Bull, it's Metro. So for the fan base, Metro is always still a very massive part of this club. It's part of this culture. I mean, the only thing that I'm just really upset with is the team itself has not really jumped on that. There's a lot of clubs, LA Galaxy, Kansas City. A lot of these clubs have this year done like a 25th anniversary, like kits and club. And like, it's just about to say like all this stuff in jackets. And honestly, the number one thing Red Bull fans have been asking the front office is if you found a way to get Metro Stars stuff or like Metro Stars themed stuff in the Bull shop, it wouldn't last one game. It wouldn't last one game because Red Bull fans would buy it all because all we want is the Metro Stars, like the logos and stuff like that back. It's our thing. And honestly, again, is it ever going to come back? If the Red Bull are making money, of course it will. But, and again, we're a part of the big conglomerate that is the Red Bull system. So, I'm just shedding one tear for Caden Clark as it falls down my cheek.
All hail capitalism. But can I just say, I'm picturing like like a Red Bull, like a Christmas story, and like Tim Howard in a Metro Stars kit is like the ghost of Red Bull past. and then you have Thierry Henry, and then I don't know whoever you would consider the ghost of Red Bull future, and that's like essentially the story. But that's what I'm picturing in my mind. Is Tim Howard in a Metro Stars jersey with chains draped around him.
I bet you make the joke about, like, JD makes the joke about, does Tyler Adams even remember where the New York Red Bull are? I bet you Tim Howard definitely falls under the category of, hey, do you want to come back? Nah, I'm good. We did a ring of honor not too long ago, and like you can tell which players were excited to come back and which players were like on this player's behalf because they could not attend the game today. It's like, oh yeah, because they just didn't want to be here. So
is Tim Howard really the most popular MetroStar player?
MetroStar, I wouldn't say. Tab Ramos probably really up there because Tim Howard was Mike Peckey's. Well, Mike Peckey was a big fan favorite because he came, won stuff, left, came back, won some more, then came back, was the coach that just wanted to fight every single ref and won a supporter shield. So for the fans, like, Mike Peckey is always going to be on like the top 5 list, but not just because of players, because of what he did as a coach as well. Like, if a lot of people, I guess, if you're a Red Bull fan, you'll always remember this, but the town hall meeting of Jesse Marsh, where Mike Peckey won the supporter shield and then like weeks later got fired. And then Jesse Marsh comes in, and I don't know who in the Red Bull front office thought that this was a good idea. Hey, let's get 150 of the most pissed off fans, put them in a room, and put the new coach on a stage and see what happens. Like, if you want to, honestly, for all the Union fans, go watch this, because for me, this is great because, like, looking back at it years later, it's very much like, ooh, wow, we were yelling at Jesse Marsh. And it's like, yeah, I bet you we could all take those away. Like,
hey, I've yelled at Jesse Marsh. In fact, there's a literal picture of me, one of my first years as a Union season ticket holder. It was the Open Cup game where he got a red card and slammed the ball down right around midfield, and he's walking around, and you literally see me like yelling, like he's right in front of the river, and you see me pointing, and like I don't know if you can see veins popping on my head, but like you can see me pointing, and like it's the photo that resurfaces every so often whenever Jesse Marsh is brought up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I see me right, like just to the left, but right there. I'm yelling at Jesse Marsh.
I prefer the story of you yelling at Connor Lade. That one was like that one for me got like, I laughed way too hard when you told me that.
That's great, mainly because when I found out that he was married to a girl that I knew pretty well in high school, and I was class with, I'm like, wait a minute, professional soccer players. I'm like, that sounds like, it's like, hey Connor, I know your wife. And he's just like,
that's got to be the one insult, like not even an insult, but like just basically that's the one thing you got to hear from the crowd where you're like, what? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
What was that? Who said that?
So confused for a split second. And like, it was like a corner kick, and he like quickly like runs back, and everybody's like, my one friend was like, do you really know his wife? I'm like, yeah. I took counting all 3 years of high school with her.
There are people around you who don't know you, who looked at you and were just like, I don't think the guy a couple rows in front of us is all there because he just said that he knew Connor Lade's wife.
It's a weird insult.
Probably. Most people who know me assume that. So let's be honest.
There are some interesting insults in the MLS. That is for sure.
Oh yeah, I had to hear for a couple years the Sasha question chants, and those were, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, those are. They got creative. Also.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, that was probably like, I'll give NYCFC fans credit because they're the ones who started it. Like, I heard that chant for the first time, and I was even like, that's kind of funny. Like that's kind of funny. I feel you on that. That's kind of funny. Like, you, even if it's a rival, you hear a good chant, and you're just like, okay, I get it. Like, that was.
Well done.
I will say one thing I do respect out of Red Bull. I feel like sometimes they don't care what anyone thinks, and they'll just do what they think is best for the club and for the whole conglomerate that is Red Bull. You gotta love that. You gotta respect that.
You know what? At the end of the day, I look at the success that Leipzig has had, the instant success. Remember, this is a club that started in the lowest divisions of German soccer, and then within years later,
their way into Bundesliga,
using a loophole.
Yes. They
we got
absolutely
it.
No, but you know what? They used the loophole, but I'm going to give you again, I want to give them credit. It took them X amount of years to take a lower division team, and every single year they won, got promoted. And now, I mean, we see, Dortmund every single year get gutted a little bit. They have their best players ripped from them. Yeah, I'm a Man United fan. I'm doing backflips over Jadon Sancho right now. But like Leipzig last year were easily the second best team in that league. And Leipzig now are continuing to keep some of these players. So Leipzig look like they're going to at least attempt to make a push to kind of compete with, Bayern. And Salzburg just won their league. And it's like you look at these teams, the Red Bull system, again, Red Bull itself want to win. That's the big thing for Red Bull. They want to put a winning product on the field. And honestly, I'll compare it to Manchester United. Prime example. Do you think the Glazers give two shits if Manchester United wins? No. They care about how much money they can pull out each quarter, and they can finance their yachts and their mansions. But Red Bull itself, the system, is a system that's built on wanting to win things. So honestly, getting made fun of the fact that I support a team that has an energy drink logo all over my stadium, my jerseys, my training tops, everything. Yeah. The joke hit.
Not bimbo on your jersey.
Well, that was.
That's a tough one to explain to people.
I've been looking forever because I want to get JD a jersey, like a nice Philadelphia Union jersey. But I want to get him. The only jersey I would buy him is a bimbo jersey. If it was not a bimbo jersey, it's just not.
That's not how you treat.
I was gonna say, buy me one of those auction ones up that the auction for the Juneteenth jerseys that are like starting at $150. You can buy me one of those.
Man, I like that.
Yeah, JD, I like you. I don't like you starting bid at $255.
I don't need the Glesnes one. Literally, they have the Glesnes one that he scored the rocket in, and that's at like $360 or something. But some are still at $150.
Get him like a Jack McGlynn or Quinn Sullivan. I'm sure that's pennies on the dollar.
The Shibilgo one's still $150.
Quino's stock's going up. He might be going a little more than that.
Matt, one more thing. So does this mean Red Bull fans automatically are Leipzig fans as well?
No. So I actually know a lot of Red Bull fans that root for Dortmund, Bayern. One of my best friends who has been going with Red Bull games with me now for the past decade, he's a massive Bayern Munich fan. And honestly, he hates Red Bull Leipzig. So it's actually kind of funny.
That's the funny part is like, even Salzburg, like Red Bull is from Austria. Like people forget that. And they're not even, I think that some of the supporters even like peeled off and support some of the other, but you guys, the money making machine continues. I mean, Salzburg just sold Pat Sandaka to what was it, Leicester? That was a out of nowhere, and I knew he was going because him and Brendan, like Brendan was feeding Daka the whole time. And I'm like, he's going, where he's going, he's going.
I mean, honestly, funny enough, we have a Discord connected to our podcast as well, and they're literally coming at me, yelling at me that, like, Matt, do you not remember that Leipzig just sold Upamecano? So I was like, hey, you win, you get good, you sell, and then you buy Caden Clark for $3 million, and then you just keep it going. Just keep it going.
It's putting money, taking money out of your left pocket.
I said that to you.
Put it in your right pocket.
It. That's literally it. That's literally it. But I mean, hey, I get him for at least half a season. I get Caden Clark for half a season more, and I'm going to enjoy every last second of it.
He's been so good.
Matthew, Caden Clark has already forgotten about New York Red Bulls. Let's be honest. He's going to be there for another half season, but he's already forgotten. He's just going through the motions.
JD, I love you so much. It hurts.
Well, speaking of which, so let's get to this team that's currently in Red Bull Arena there. Matt, I'll be honest, we were talking about in the pregame show, I guess. We don't really know and much about this team. This team kind of has changed a little bit its face over the past couple seasons. You guys have, I guess, there's definitely like a trend of youth that's going on with the Red Bull. We've known this for a while. This is how you guys love to build through the kids, but you guys have been on a kind of a tear lately. Was it 3 wins, one loss?
1 in the last 5.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with you guys, man?
No, I mean, honestly, with Red Bull and every single week. So another thing that I do outside of the EPL boys is I also do Red Bull articles for the MLS Ace podcast. Yeah. Honestly, every single person who works there, shout out to Tom and Graham for even giving me the opportunity for that. But I've been describing it as this is just a team of extremely young guys. I mean, the next guy up mentality is absolutely phenomenal this year. I've seen teams in years past with other coaches where when a star or your best player goes out, that's it. The next 2 or 3 games where we don't have them, that's it. It's done. Forget it. We're just not getting productivity from those positions, and the entire game plan just absolutely just falls apart. But for Aaron Long to go out, that was such a critical hit to this entire fan base where we honestly looked at each other and we're just like, I don't know if we recover. Like, Aaron Long is the heart of this defense, but you look at it, Tom Edwards coming over from Stoke City has been absolutely phenomenal. I honestly consider him basically a Swiss Army knife as a defender because this year he's played both sides of the center back position. He's played left back, right back, and center defensive mid. And honestly, no matter where he plays, he's been absolutely phenomenal. This is also another huge year for John Tolkien. I mean, this kid, and I say kid because he's 18 years old. Guys, he went to prom a few weeks ago. Like, he shut down, he shut down Toronto, and then
they do that
days later.
themselves.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's Toronto. It is Toronto. But he literally shut him down, and then days later went to prom. Like, and then honestly, and then Kyle Duncan's had a great year. I mean, honestly, Christian Caceres, of course, has been probably our standout this year. I mean, honestly, he is probably the only good thing to come out of the Chris Armas era, really, because he was the guy. He got the minutes because of Chris Armas, and honestly, that looking at this current lineup and how everything kind of stands, he has been the standout in our midfield, and honestly, it's taken him a year or 2, but he's really filled the shoes of Tyler Adams. It's also helped that, Sean Davis, he's kind of just idled for the past couple years. But this year, he's been phenomenal. Not only just as a leader on the field, but overall as just, this guy has been phenomenal on the field. He is playing as basically a true number 6, and he's just been crushing it. He's really just an absolute anchor for that back line, and he's just made everyone a whole lot better. But I think this year that stands out more than anything else is we actually have strikers. Like, we actually have strikers. Fabio and Kamala have been phenomenal with our 2 striker pairing up top. Again, I said this the last time that I was on. I think we made the joke that, you're either going to get Brian White, who's not even on the team anymore, or you're going to get Tom Barlow. You're either going to get one of those 2 guys, and they're just going to do nothing. Like, they're just going to just run around for 90 minutes and just try to cause a problem that'll lead to a goal. But now you actually have Kamala and Fabio, where if one person's scoring, the other person's assisting. And when that one's assisting, the other one is scoring. These guys are doing phenomenal. I mean, you look at this last game against Orlando. Fabio has a goal. Kamala has 2 assists. I mean, they have been absolutely incredible. If you told me at the beginning of the season the Red Bull would be able to win without Danny Royer or Caden Clark, I'd be looking you dead in the eyes and going, you're either on crack or I just don't believe you. So the fact that there are just so many different standouts this season have given the Red Bull fans such a hope, because we knew going in Gerhard Struber this was a year of a rebuild. He never described it as a rebuild, but when you bring in 11 new guys and you let 5 or 6 go, you're going through wholesale changes. And for this team, I didn't expect this. I expected us to basically, we're going to be under the playoff line for the majority of the year. And maybe at the end of the season, maybe we'll get lucky. But honestly, yes, we're in 8th place right now. We are right below the playoff line. But as you just said, that last record, in recent weeks, we've been very, very good defensively, offensively. Everything's kind of clicking. So for us, again, this is kind of just like a Russian roulette wheel. You kind of don't know what you're going to get, but you know what? We're on a little bit of a high, and I'm not questioning anything. I'm sitting here and I'm just enjoying the ride.
Just
Matt,
hands up and sit back.
The real question is, did you think Gerhard Struber was going to last longer in New York than your old pal Chris Harmus did in Toronto? Because my man didn't even get back to Canada.
Well, that was literally the joke of the offseason and then the joke going into the season. So like we were getting a lot of heat from, and it's funny enough, like Toronto fans on social media are the most badass guys on the entire internet. But when it comes time to their team actually starts losing, it's really funny that none of these guys actually really show up. Besides that point, everyone's like, oh, Chris Armas, he's going to be a phenomenal coach. He's going to keep Toronto up there. And then I'm sitting here, I'm like, you really all don't know what you're going to get, right? Like Toronto is a team that's used to building up possession slowly, ticky-tacky football, and giving the ball, honestly, having Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore be your 1-2 punch. Honestly, you're going to have other players step in as well. But when Chris Armas is one of his first things he does is basically exiles Josie Altidore from the entire team, I'm sitting here like laughing in the background like, see, Toronto fans are really about to get it now because Chris Armas thinks he's, masterclass. Dude, this guy has no idea what he's doing. The only success he ever had with the Red Bull is off of a team that he picked up at the end of a season where we were already almost at a supporter shield, and basically all he had to do was just not fuck up what Jesse Marsh did. And yeah, that was it. That was his only success. I'm tired of people thinking Chris Armas is a good coach. I'm so tired of people saying Chris Armas the supporter shield winning coach, because he's not. He's not a supporter shield winning coach. He took a team that was really, really good, that was using another coach's system, and he was just like, okay, guys, get out there and play. So I'm happy. At the end of the day, you never want to see another man lose his job, but fuck Chris Armas. I'm so glad that this guy honestly, Toronto, you get what you deserve. The fact that you saw that the Red Bull fired him halfway through the season and you turned around and you went, yeah, for some reason I think that'll work. Yeah, you get what you deserve. And you play. My one friend has a great quote where is if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. So congratulations, Toronto. You're last in the MLS, and now half of your team doesn't even want to be there.
Listen, it's the old adage in Philly: fuck around and find out. And when Armas was hired, I remember looking at people going, Do people think this is a good hire? Like, did you see what he did in Red Bull? And they're like, oh yeah, he won a supporter shield. I'm like, he took over halfway through a season, and Jesse Marsh literally his blueprints were all over that team. But yeah, he won the supporter shield.
I think all of us here in the Philadelphia area should thank Chris Armas because he, of course, gave us all our very first playoff win, which I will hold
he also
dearly
gave us an Elsinio match. So. He's given us a lot of good memories. So.
I just want to just say quickly as we say the Ilsinho match, I just want to say rest in peace, Connor Lade, because not only did Ilsinho cross him up twice, Connor Lade retired after that. Like, honestly, like, it's not even a joke. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, Connor Lade in the locker room, like, told the team, like, yeah, I'm done. That was it. Like, I'm physically not playing.
He can't do this no more.
That can't happen anymore.
Man.
That is hilarious, Matt. I wanted to ask because we were talking about the way the Red Bull is kind of built now. You guys running a diamond in the midfield?
So yeah, that looks like it's and it's funny because it came out of nowhere. It really did. Chris Armas last year tried to do the whole 4-2-2 system where basically you're gonna have 2 holding midfielders, 2 wingers, 2 strikers. But the issue is we didn't really have strikers to kind of link it all together. You also dealt with the whole Kaku situation, which, by the way, still hasn't been figured out.
I was going to say, has it not even been resolved? He's been playing in Saudi Arabia for how long?
And that's the funny thing. FIFA literally came in and said, no, the Red Bull are in the right. Kaku and his representatives are in the wrong. The Red Bull can recall Kaku whenever he wants. I'm just hoping that this turns into a situation where whatever team he's playing for sends us X amount of money. I don't even care what the price tag is anymore. Imagine Kaku coming back. Like, really imagine Kaku coming back. Like, hey guys, I totally just pissed off to another continent, but I'm here to play. It's like, nah, piss off. what's working. I mean, honestly, but yeah, right. Oh. But the diamond has been absolutely phenomenal because it's working with this high press that we have. Because basically, especially when everyone is healthy, you have Caden Clark playing that number 10, but basically he's fitting in as a false 9 between Kamala and Fabio, who are doing really all the heavy work. The guys that Struber brought in are all guys who are built to go the full distance, run the full distance. They're able to give 90 full minutes without tiring out. And now for the first time ever, we actually have depth at that formation. Basically, at every single position, someone can come in at any point in the game and take over right where the person before them was playing. So usually our formation runs off. You usually have Kamala, Fabio as your strikers. You're usually going to have Caden Clark be your number 10 or your false 9, depending on how they're setting up in that moment. You're having Sean Davis be your true number 6 with Caceres Jr. and Frankie Amaya, who, by the way, when Frankie Amaya gets on the field, he is an instant game changer, which is massive thing that the Red Bull have not have. You guys have, you have that El Seno factor. When Frankie Amaya comes on, that's our El Seno. If you want to make I'm not saying it's an even comparison, but it's basically like he gives that same effect on the field. And then, of course, your back four with our goalie. Our back four has basically been moving chairs with injuries, red cards, and basically whatever you can advertise. The Red Bull have been going through it. But like I said at the beginning, that next man up and mentality has been huge. And honestly, the Red Bull has been carrying that. And honestly, you can tell that Gerhard Struber's system that he's put in place has completely changed the mentality of this roster. And that's what's the biggest difference going into this year is the mentality of they're not afraid of anyone. Like we've gone in to we've knocked out 2 teams who are completely undefeated in the season. They played Red Bull and they got their first defeat. Then we went to Orlando, beat them for the second time this year. This is a team where we went down 3-0 against New England, came back, scored 2 goals, and hit the crossbar 2 times in the last 2 minutes of the game. We still lost, but that just shows a lot of heart in this team that it doesn't matter what the scoreline is and it doesn't matter where we are. This team's going to fight, and that's been the biggest thing. Under Chris Armas, if we went down 1-0, I could have turned off the TV because nothing was going to change.
Well, Matt, enough with the Red Bull. I want to get JD's perspective on the Philadelphia Union. Of course, he is proud Union fans. He's rocking his beautiful Union kit there. JD, I don't really want to hear the CCL part of it, but what have you seen from the Union? What is your analysis of this team in 2021?
Well, first of all, this kit I got from a thrift store for I think $5, which is dope.
That's a come up.
It's dope. It's the mustard gold, but yeah. But no, this season I like what I see mostly because you're losing your best center back, and I mean maybe not your best midfielder, but your most promising midfielder after a great campaign last year, and all of a sudden we're consistent. Sure, there's times where we're not as good, like last week with Nashville, but that'll happen. That happens, especially with the schedule, how, you're not playing for 3 weeks and all of a sudden you have 3 games in a week and a half. That's going to happen. But overall, I mean, we've been consistent. I mean, we're third in the East, much better than Matt's Red Bulls. But I don't know. I like, it's weird to say, I've always hated the diamond formation, but it works with this team.
Well, so that's interesting you say that. Why do you hate the diamond?
I've always been a 4-3-3 kind of person. I'm a huge Liverpool fan, and especially with the false 9. So that's what I'm mostly used to, and that's what a lot of European clubs tend to go with. Yeah, and the high press. But with the Union, it's kind of cool to see it work. Because with Shavilko, he's so slow. But he does everything else pretty well. Right. It's so funny watching him do a 50-yard sprint. It's so bad.
Or his hold-up play.
Yeah. But then you have Sergio Santos or Corey Burke to make up for that lack of speed.
Oh yeah.
Or so and with Montero, I heard you guys talking about it before we came on. With Montero, you don't see him as a real 10, and I kind of agree with that. Especially with Gazdag coming in, where I see him more as a real 10. My thing is the addition with Leon Flock really tosses up the midfield because he's Jim Curtin said, like, he's undroppable. He played himself into this, and he can't see him dropping him. And I agree. But then do you drop Bedoya? I can't see them dropping Bedoya. And then El Brujo
problem.
Yeah, and it's a great problem. El Brujo
would just stare at Jim and just go, I ain't being dropped, man.
Well, it's like I see 5 undroppable players in a 4-man midfield, and which is great. But I honestly think Martinez drops, if anything, and Flock plays that holding midfield just because he can be a liability a whole lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah,
I love the passion. Like, I love the aggression. It's great, but red cards and accumulated yellow cards don't really help the team.
Can we just say, and I don't know if this has ever been brought up, I'm surprised no one has like created a Waka Flocka t-shirt and spelled it exactly as you are thinking. So I'm just saying, like, listen, if we want to get some merch going, Waka Flocka sounds amazing.
That would be pretty sick.
Came to me,
I like
but
that.
I would absolutely rock that t-shirt.
I want to ask Zach here. So as Matt was telling us, Red Bull kind of running something similar to what we are running here. Could this benefit us? Do you like this matchup here with the Red Bull? Hold off on the prediction.
Considering how other teams have kind of started figuring out the diamond a little bit, I don't really like it because, as I said in a previous podcast, the best way to go after the diamond is to run a diamond yourself. So if they have guys in the middle of the park that can do the job and cover guys that we have in the middle of the park and pin them back, I think it's not going to be a great day at the office. That being said, we do run the diamond, or at least we have run the diamond better than most people who have tried it. So I think it's going to be another game like Nashville where they kind of feel each other out, and I'm worried about that because of how poorly the Nashville game went.
This is a very good point by our boy Mike here. Set pieces worry me. Red Bull had 12 last match versus us, and we've been bad defending them as of late.
It's very true.
Solid point by Mike. Solid point.
Yeah, not wrong on that. That's, in Chicago, 2 of the 3 goals were on set pieces, and I'm looking, just going, oh no, like this is not good defending at all. Like that's the one big concern has been set pieces, which up to that last few games, it's been actually one of the better things about the team.
Very true. All right, boys, you ready for predictions? Are you ready? All right.
We'll be a bit anticlimactic, but yeah.
All right. Well, of course, we want to let our guest go first, so we'll let Matt start off with this one. Of course, he is the Red Bull side. So, Matt, just give us your thoughts on what do you think is going to happen on Thursday night and a prediction.
I mean, it's funny enough. We were talking about it the last time I was on. We talked about how the Diamonds would kind of butt heads, and when that, and you guys did win 1-0, and the Diamonds really did butt heads. Both teams couldn't get their kind of system going, and it kind of just locked in against each other. You guys did get the 1 goal off of the 1 defensive error. Here comes a hot take from Matt. No, honestly, here's the thing. If you know me at all, I really have the driest of dry hot takes. I peeked ahead at the weather. Going against Diamond versus Diamond, I looked ahead at the weather. Guys, unfortunately, I'm going to get very wet tomorrow because the game is going to be – there is going to be thunderstorms and rain from about 10 o'clock in the morning until like 1 a.m. the following day. This game is going to be a downpour. Now, yes, Red Bull Arena does a really good –
Chicago. That's exactly what I dealt with.
Oh, there's nothing worse than being wet. I would rather I can be frozen. That's fine. Wet can't do.
Yeah.
But
– All right, Ben Shapiro.
Yikes.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. If you ever want to hear any of this banter back and forth, JD and I basically just do this for about an hour. So, yeah, the EPL boys available on all social media platforms. 0-0. I have a game ending 0-0 tomorrow.
Okay.
I just think it's a midweek game. Kind of a midweek game, but it's a midweek game. The weather's not going to be really that pleasant, and these teams really didn't give a lot in the last one, and I really don't see the same thing here. I think 0-0 would be the final, and honestly, I think that's a result both teams will kind of just walk away with and just go, okay.
Sorry, Tommy. Tommy was with me during the Red Stars game before the Union game when we got soaking wet. So
that's never
fun
fun.
Day.
Never fun out there.
I don't think I've ever been to Gillette Stadium and come home dry. Like, I think every single time I've ever gone away over the last decade, I've always gone where I've left soaking wet.
Yeah, no, I'm one and done with Bridgeview. I went there for the Red Stars game. I'm one and done. I don't need to go back.
Well, Matt, I hear that's what happens at the Craft House. But anyways, JD,
Jesus,
give us that prediction, man.
Well, am I wrong? So Blake, Corey Burke, and Alice Powell won't be there.
Oh no, this is the last game.
This is the last game. Okay, okay.
Not to mention that, yes.
Okay, so
they should all be playing tomorrow.
Okay, well that's a huge factor. I was gonna say if Blake's not in, then that's big. But okay, so I mean me personally, I'm trying to make the Red Bulls the Union's biggest rival just to piss off Matt because he's just like the Union don't have any rivals; they're not old enough. But I want it to be the Red Bulls. I was supposed to be at this match. We were going to set it up. I was going to go with Matt, but he wouldn't let me sit in the Red Bull supporters section. I really wanted to. I was like, just put me in there. Just put me in there. And he's like, absolutely not.
Matt asked me the same thing, and I'm like, I would if I was in the area.
Yeah,
I would have gotten you all. If you guys were really coming up, I would have gotten you guys pleasant seats anywhere else in the stadium. So you wouldn't have been sitting with me, unfortunately.
Oh,
brought a megaphone to be like, Matt.
We can do what Adam. I want to give a shout out to Adam Booth. We can do what I do with Adam Booth every single time. Where Adam Booth sees me, I see him. I shoot him a text like, "Hey, look here." He looks at me at the away supporter section, and we just wave for a couple seconds, and then we just go right back to us throwing hate at each other. For 1
exactly
second.
what Adam would do.
For 1 second, we stop the Philly hate chants. He stops the Red Bull hate chants. We just look at each other, and we just hi. And then after that 5 seconds, we go right back to business.
It's hard. It's hard to get Adam these days. But go ahead, JD.
Just to keep it short, like a prediction wise, I think the Union are going to recover from Nashville. I think they'll get this win. I mean, I'm going to be conservative maybe and go 2-1. But yeah,
2-1 to Dupe.
Yeah, 2-1 to Dupe.
I like that. All right, Zach, give it to me, man. What you thinking?
I'm going to be the pessimistic Union fan today and go 1-0 Red Bulls. I think with the weather and the diamond for diamond matchup, I think it's going to be plus the Red Bulls being at home. I think it's going to be a sloppy game, especially with the weather. So I think the Red Bulls will squeak one out at some point during the game.
Zach, if that happens, Union Twitter's going to blow up, right?
Listen. I am looking at this as an unbiased football fan and supporter who likes to analyze the game, and I'm just gonna say 1-0 Red Bulls. No fandom, nothing behind it. Just that's what I'm feeling.
All right, Zach. If you lose friends because of this, we can be friends.
I'm totally cool with that.
All right, Justin, what do you got for me, man?
It's we talked about this the last time. We knew that it was going to be a dull game the first time around. It does not get much better this time around. I'm going along the lines of what Matt said, but I'm actually going to go 1-1. I think it's, again, Union Red Bull matches, even with the Union success over the last few years, it's just always scrappy. It's ugly. That's
how we like it.
I mean, listen, it's not going to be as ugly as Nashville, but you're playing two exact systems. So we say something's got to give, but essentially usually it's a net effect. So at this point, a draw feels likely. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to say Casper gets a goal off an assist from Gazdag, who I think is the start to 10. And I think, I think and I don't want to be saying this because I spoke it into existence the last time. I think Carlos Coronel is going to boot a ball down the field, and Fabio is going to score, and it's going to be an assist from a former Union goalie, and that's just going to be the like. I spoke CJ into existence, and I know I'm using my powers for evil, but I feel like that's going to happen just because that's just the way. Look, whenever you have a former Union player on the field.
Man, oh man, former Union goalkeeper Carlos Coronel. My God.
He has. And it's funny enough because he's been absolutely phenomenal for Red Bull. He's been absolutely incredible for the Red Bull this year. Honestly, saving penalties, coming up massive in big parts of games, and yet for some reason, half of our fan base, if you look at Twitter, still want Ryan Mira. So it makes no sense. But yeah,
wasn't he in Champions League last year? Coronel.
Yeah,
he still Salzburg.
And yet people are still people still want Ryan Mira. I love Ryan Mira. I've had conversations with Ryan Mira. He's a pleasant guy, but
it's tough to say because even when he was here in Philly, he looked good when he came in the matches.
Oh my God, he had an insane save on
he was, but he was a backup. There's not a lot of pressure. You're coming in every so often, so I don't know how he can do as an every game, every match starter.
He's been phenomenal, man. Ani, you want to talk about the biggest blessing? Because honestly, after Luis Robles, I thought we would go like another 10 years without a goalie, like a consistent number one. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Before we head out, guys, JD and Matt, I want to talk a little bit about EPL boys. Like, obviously, it's a Premier League centered podcast, but how did it come about, and what makes you guys different from the other EPL podcasts out there?
JD, do you want to start? Because JD is one of the founding members. I'm just a guy who begged, pleaded, and cried to get on the podcast. So
yeah, our other co-host Logan, we had been followers of the Lads podcast, which is kind of just football overall. And in their Discord, that's where we met. And he just called me up last summer. Was like, "Hey, you want to start a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I think, what did we just put out? Episode 74, I think.
Yeah, wow. Something like that.
Yeah, we try and do two a week at least during the season. Okay. They're pretty long episodes. Usually between an hour 15, hour 30. And I think that our different take has been that we go through and talk about every single game in a match day. And break it down and then preview every game for the next week. So that's what makes it longer. But even a Crystal Palace versus Burnley match will get talked about and analyzed, which sounds like terrible. But if something good happened, if nothing happens, we just gloss over it. But I think that's kind of what makes it different. We have a lot of segments where I'll do a gambling corner. It always has fun intro music. Save That Money by Lil Dicky. That's what I've usually been rolling with.
Philly.
I expected this kind of vibes when I look into the profile for the EPL's podcast, and literally your cover photo is the Eric Cantona incident against Crystal Palace, two-footing a fan, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's that kind of podcast, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's shithouse. But thankfully we haven't gotten copyrighted because our intro music is very copyrightable. I don't know how. I just clipped that from YouTube. I'm just saying that right now.
Shout to YouTube.
We just try and keep it fun. But yeah, Matt, you want to go on?
I was about to say, honestly, it's original. It really is. I listen to soccer podcasts all day, and then when we come to recording ours and I listen back to ours, it's just different. And honestly, that's probably the biggest thing I could recommend is, right now we're covering the Euros in its entirety, and we're doing the same game breaking down every single game, every single player, every single big moment. We are not friends of the referees. So if you are a referee, maybe not listening to our podcast would benefit your day. But yeah, like JD's Gambling Corner, I've had people reach out to me personally, be like, "Hey, can you thank JD? I've made a few bucks listening to your podcast." And it's like, hey, fantastic. But yeah, we have, honestly, and it's all banter. Let's be honest here. It's two Liverpool fans and a United fan talking EPL. So for us, there's little battles within the war, but honestly, it's nice to just have 3 separate, unique, and like just opinions on things. And for us, it's also fun. For us, it's natural. I mean, if we had to, we could record for 3-4 hours if we wanted to, but God, you don't want to listen to me talk about how much I think Marcus Rashford is the greatest thing to ever be blessed upon football's world. So, no, it's an absolute pleasure. If you have the opportunity, we're available at anywhere you get your podcasts, so the EPL Boys, and we're available on all social medias. I'm basically running the majority of them, so if you want to throw me hate personally, I only read the reviews of people who follow us. So you have to click follow, and then you can just throw hate at me all you want.
Wait, so Matt, so the real question is, have you gone through a segment as to the correlation that Jadon Sancho getting a move to Manchester United was the exact reason 100%. why he got a start for 100%. England?
So absolutely. My funny thing would be is yes, basically, yeah. Gareth Southgate doesn't play Bundesliga players. He's just like, nah, fam, I don't trust you. And then the second he's like, oh, I'm on United now. Okay, get your ass in there. But I think the real thing was, like, the real, like, underlining thing is this move has been now escalating very, very much during the beginning of the Euros. So for Jadon Sancho, this is a lot going on mentally. Is your entire career is now moving. You're going to a different league. You're going to have to pick your stuff up, move it to a new place. So that's a lot on a lot on your mind. So for him, probably not playing was probably the more beneficial thing. It also helped all the parties involved because, yes, Jadon Sancho was on the national team, therefore, that was leverage for Dortmund. But at the same time, Manchester United could feel confident putting down a price because he wasn't playing that frequently. So, it's a lot of different things. At the same time, Gareth Southgate, I still don't think that guy has any idea with what's going on. So you guys already described it. You guys already talked about it on this episode today. I mean, I don't know what JD's opinions are. We're going to literally record our episode for previewing the final in the next couple of days. I still don't know yet if football's coming home, and I'm just confused.
It's coming back to Rome.
It's coming to Rome. Yeah, football's coming to Rome.
This banter's going to be fun for the next couple of days. But JD and Matt, real quick, I just wanted to just thank you guys, obviously, for coming on. But please keep doing what you're doing. Like, I just love seeing 2 Americans that obviously love the game over there. But it is clear that you guys don't lose what is in your backyards. And that's kind of like, getting into the soccer game. A little bit about my background. Like, I love all the sports. And, obviously, like, my thing is all the Philly sports. But one thing I do notice about the American soccer community, it is definitely tough because, you have these guys who are big Euro people or who love the Liga MX or whatever back home. And then, you got MLS people and then you have people who just don't care about the sport. But seeing you guys talk about the EPL, showing love to the MLS, we need more people like that. So seriously, keep doing what you guys are doing. And I'm definitely loving it. I had fun. This was a lot of fun. And
the best part, like, our co-host Logan literally does not watch MLS, but like before every episode, JD and I would just talk a little MLS, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm thinking about getting into the MLS. What team should I support?" And I'm just like, "Well, what team are you closest to?" He's like, "Oh, I'm closest to Orlando." I was like, "Then start rooting for Orlando." The next day, he sends us an order. "Hey, I just ordered a hat, a jersey, and a scarf." And now, like, he'll
fake
even
fan.
like,
He's a
and
fake
now,
fan.
JD, you calm yourself, okay?
Is he on the DK train? Is that the
Oh well, he's
train?
he's a big Nani fan, and he's a big Daryl DK fan. I mean, to be fair, I'm not even an Orlando fan, and I'm a big Daryl DK fan.
I'm a fan of him getting out of Orlando, but
yeah, I mean,
yeah, the second he makes that move to Europe, big fan.
Absolutely, guys. Seriously, shouts to the EPL boys. I put it in the comments. You guys can go check that out. And as well, make sure to follow these guys as well. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another episode of DOOP by the River. We seriously want to thank the EPL boys, and I also want to thank Roxborough United. Reminder again, guys, please, anything helps. Please. Well, I guess I lost that there, but yeah, we'll put it in descriptions. This will be on YouTube and also be on wherever you stream podcasts. Just to help donate for Jeff's birthday charity for Roxborough United, our great friends. And thank you for the sponsor from Roxborough United. Guys, do not forget to like the live and subscribe to El Parcero Phillies YouTube channel. This is where we put all of the Dupe by the Rivers live portions as well. Do not forget to subscribe to Dupe by the River. You can find that wherever you stream podcasts. And please subscribe to EPL Boys. You can find that wherever you stream podcasts as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the EPL Boys, JD Peters and Matt Sia. Of course, my guys, Matt, Justin Notorious. The lettering is really small. Look like an M. Justin Notorious BALD Freiberg, and of course Zach Lobasso. Of course, I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to do on. Talk to you guys soon. Beat the Pink Cows!